Burning Sins, Prologue Part 3. What is this? What is this? What the fuck did I come back to? Nathan held his hands out in front of him as he came out of a local shop in downtown Manchester. Having spent the last few months as the first soldier for Kiana, he had been spending time with the Don's daughter, and even grew closer to her mother when the Don himself was away. Her mother, Anna Whitney, was a kind, mature woman. Something you'd see out of those weird anime where the mom is a sweet housewife with a charming appeal. The two of them were great company for Maya, and while Nathan learned to be distrustful of strangers on the street, his cold demeanor would lessen some whenever he saw Kiana or her mother entertaining his little sister. It humbled him, seeing good people in a life where all you knew was the bad. Over time, he began to look better, eating right and gaining all the weight he should have had back into his body. He had more muscle, he was thicker in all the healthy places. All in all, compared to who he was before, he looked great. But that didn't mean everything was sunshine and rainbows. Working for the Devil's Enforcers meant doing everything the Don had warned him he would be doing. He was sent out to collect money, interrogate people, and murder whoever he was told to. And he was obviously doing it right, as the other members of the family began to respect and fear him. It's not too often you see a kid who recently turned 17 to be so efficient at a job like this. But Nathan knew this was one of his only good options left. He used to be afraid of the monsters in his closet, but now, he was a monster. Over the days, he killed, tormented, and committed rigorous heists. His mind would earn another little crack. A moral conscience split into two with time. All of that led to now, with Nathan out on a little shopping spree with Kiana and a few of the Don's people. The latter were struggling to place a large piece of exercise equipment into the truck they drove in on. Several other weights and tools packed in with it. One of the associates of Alessandro, one who runs the workout shop Kiana was buying from, had a bead of sweat run down the side of her face, her expression pertaining a sheepish smile.
Well, the Don's daughter sure does love to keep her body fit.
Fit? She's an 18-year-old workout model.
Well, she also purchases equipment to keep her breasts firm. Always comes into my store for things like that if it isn't a new treadmill.
Keep her She has double D-sized boobs that are perkier than my sister's obscene amount of bubbling energy. The store owner just laughed as Nathan facepalmed, sighing to himself as he was given a soft pat on the back by the woman.
Still, good to see Alessandro's giving her good company. I haven't seen Kiana this happy in a long while. Certainly not since she lost her uncle to those creeps.
Nathan glanced at the woman, then to where she was pointing. On the wall of the building beside them, a series of papers was put up, stamped with big letters above various pictures. They were wanted posters, and all from a gang Nathan had not been privy to. Yet, looking at the gang name under the individual members' identities, he rose an eyebrow at the name. The Pathogens?
A band of nasty folk that had been hounding the new Esecatore del Diavolo years before you became a part of their family. Word has it that the Pathogens attempted to rob a bank controlled by the family. It went bad, and now they want to get even. They burn down establishments favored by the Don's Mall, kill underbosses like Kiana's uncle, and go after anyone loosely associated with them. It's best to keep the hood up and your name on the down low, kid. By now, they definitely know that you're with the new Esecatore del Diavolo.
And they'll put a target on me, too.
Most likely. So, get good with that pistol of yours, and get yourself some new weapons. You'll need it. Till then, I'll leave you with that.
She waved to him as she walked back into her store, leaving him to watch as Kiana was walking back over to him. Behind her, the truck used to carry the equipment was sounding like it was gonna shit itself from carrying too much weight. Jesus Christ, Kiana, you actually got the whole thing stuffed in the back?
Yep. And Malakostos was one of the soldiers having his arm twisted by the bars.
Oh my lord, did you at least apologize to him? Kiana waved him off.
Yeah, he'll get patched up back at home. Nothing that hasn't happened before.
The two watched the truck pass by, Nathan shaking his head as it turned the corner. Don't I know it? Been here for 4 months and I know you better than I hate myself.
You don't know me that well.
I know you're terrible with role-playing based arcade games. The two turned and walked down the strip of shops and restaurants as they argued, their lighthearted banter drawing grins from the both of them.
Hey, lime was pretty cool. I was even the lemon. It matched the colors of our characters. We would be the greatest heroes in all of Yggdrasil.
But how the hell was fruit juice a superpower?
Okay, fair enough.
The two shared a chuckle as they made their way through another shop, this time going for something that was smaller. Kiana was attempting to find something to fit Nathan. He looked good in the uniform, but every time she got a look at him, she knew that it didn't quite fit him. He was more laid back, more casually serious than any of her father's personnel. A fighter, a killer, but all to protect, not serve. The thought made Kiana smile widen. How lucky she was to get a friend out of someone like him. He's been plagued with an awful life, and yet he isn't melodramatic or resentful. Sure, he's depressed at times because of that trauma, but unlike many, he's working to move past it, to put his history behind him, to become something better. And that was as her best right hand. Nathan was looking for his own gift for Kiana. After spending so much time with her, even for under a year, he had found the girl to be tomboyish, but still into certain cute things. Namely, sentimental items that meant a lot between the giver and receiver. Walking around near the cases holding bracelets, necklaces, and etc., Nathan stopped when he found something that was only $20, but looked and felt like it could have been so much more. Taking it into his hand, he held it up before himself. It was a silver wrist bracelet, big enough to comfortably fit around one's wrist. But what caught Nathan's eye was the gem in the center. A perfect piece of solid emerald, a color Kiana favors. Without hesitation, Nathan had called one of the staff over and purchased it, keeping it in a small case as he regrouped with Kiana. She too had a small case in her hand, and was surprised to find the same in Nathan's grasp. Trading the gifts, the two opened their respective boxes, and Nathan found his to be of something similar to Kiana's gift, but as a ring instead of a bracelet, and with a sapphire as the center jewel rather than an emerald. Nathan took the ring out of its box almost tenderly, slowly turning it in his palm before putting it on. He flexed the fingers on his left hand as he slipped it over his third finger. It felt good. It was actually comfortable enough that he didn't even feel it was there. Looking over to Kiana, she was wearing the bracelet on her right arm, her face almost split with an ecstatic grin. Spinning to Nathan, she surprised him with a leaping hug and a very deliberate kiss on his cheek. Standing there stunned, she giggled and trailed ahead back towards the mansion, the stumped young man blinking after her. He noticed she had more than just the ring to give him, as she waved a bag she had in her hands at him with a raspberry being blown his way. His eyebrow twitched in irritation, and he broke into a sprint to chase down the laughing maniac that was now teasing him with a new pair of clothes. She'd better not have bought something inappropriate to wear around Maya. Being brutally honest to your friends doesn't mean you're a bad person. You just want them to make the decision that's best for them. Even though your opinions don't always support them, do not be afraid to speak out. And don't make a false self-opinion of yourself just to please them. Your truth is what matters, and it can help those around you make the right decisions for themselves. Nobody wants to see their loved ones happy, then angry at them for helping make a bad decision. It's always better to risk that friendship status for the sake of what's right for them. It happened so quickly, so suddenly. By the time Nathan had opened his eyes from his sleep, he barely had enough time to register the sickly feeling in his gut that something was wrong before many other soldiers in the West Wing of the mansion were rushing out of the shared bedroom.
Who the fuck?
Pathogens, they're in the East Wing! Get that bitch in the main gate!
Oh god, the mall is dead!
Protect the Dawn! Nathan jumped from his bed, grabbing his gun off the stand as he ran for the exit. Following the other soldiers to the end of the wing, he ducked in cover as a hail of bullets greeted them at the foyer. Blind firing at the aggressors, he peered over when it all stopped, seeing the people who came leave just as quickly as they arrived. Watching them go through an upper window on the second story, Nathan turned and rushed for the offices, hearing a commotion from the others gathering there. Pushing his way through, he found the Dawn, Alessandro holding the body of his Mal, his wife. Kiana was there too, crying her eyes out as she tried to get her mother to wake up. Seeing them both there, Nathan's empathy returned, his sympathy for their plight not too dissimilar to his own. He lost a father, and felt the burden of leaving a mother behind, but this was more extreme than that. Much, much more. Kneeling down next to Kiana, he placed a hand on her shoulder, jumping in surprise when she turned and grappled onto him, clutching his uniform and drenching it with tears and blood. Holding her, he comforted her with as much experience as he could muster. Alessandro looked up at him, the two sharing a heart-to-heart before he choked out his cries.
My Anna, sweet, innocent Anna. I never thought this would happen. I did everything. I covered every base. Anna.
I'm sorry, Alessandro. I wasn't here when I should have been. None of us were. I'm sorry.
She didn't do nothing to nobody. It was us devilmen who were the killers, not her. We were already settling the death in blood. She didn't have to.
Nathan's expression fell further as the Don was resorted to nothing but a blubbering mess. His present underbosses and consiglières were doing their best to comfort him, while capos and soldiers surrounded them, some staking out to keep watch for other gang members. One of the underbosses, a femme fatale kind of woman, looked up at the group around her as she rubbed Alessandro's back.
How did this happen? The pathogens have never attempted a raid on the Whitney Manor before. We don't know, ma'am. Our guards outside reported that they didn't come from the main driveway or any other access points around the brick fences and ledges. One moment it was quiet, then the next.
Wait. Everyone turned back to Nathan as he looked around. Where's Maya? The soldier reporting to the underboss looked up at one of his partners, then turned to the younger gunman.
We searched the east wing after they retreated. All of the rooms were accounted for when we arrived at the Don's bedroom, but the pathogens, they came for her.
What? Why?
You tell me, kid. Seems like they have it for you, especially.
Kiana looked up at the soldier, tears still brimming in her eyes as Nathan's body went shock still at the fact that Maya was taken.
But they couldn't know. They couldn't possibly know that he was with us, nor Maya.
Nathan's eyes turned to the floor, seeing something glistening from under Anna's corpse. Taking it and uncovering it, he found it to be a gold chain, broken and unusable, with a name engraved on the flat end. A name that made his blood run cold. Slowly curling his fingers over the chain, he let out a breath. I know who did this. Everyone turned to him, even Alessandro. But Nathan kept his gaze to the piece of jewelry in his grip. I don't know how she convinced the pathogens to help her. I don't even know how she figured it out. Maybe she saw me with Kiana at some point and figured it out, but... No. He shook his head. No, this was all my fault. I should have done more than just run away. She was a loose end, and now she has Maya with God knows how many pathogens with her.
Nathan, what are you talking about? Who has your sister?
That's how it almost always is. You gotta tie up your loose ends first. Though this whole time I couldn't shake off what's better, a Yakuza or a Mafia. Anyways, let's get on to our loyal donators. Top donators, Jessie Smith, Star 630, BadassWaffle, Only One Thing, and Ceru Orion. Matchback, JockeTF, Darkseid, Rayden, Norris, Blackmoon, Pastel Skies, Austin Rollin, Sword Brother Mordred, Armorcon, Library, Winslife, Will, Chris, Twinkie, Rysel, Shadow Moon, Luigi, Chancer Crust, Big Smoke, Bobcat, Murder Princess, Jet, Calidus, Little Money, and many more amazing people. Thank you all so much for watching this video and live life to the fullest.